Today, we're going to talk to the three nominees for Guest Actress or Actor in a Drama Series. And very happy to have you here, really from around the world. First up, we have a two-time Emmy winner, and she's been nominated in this category, Guest Actress in a Drama Series, now 3 years in a row, and won last year for The Handmaid's Tale. This time, it's for Succession. She plays Nan Pierce. Cherry Jones, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
And you're coming in from Switzerland today, I believe.
I am. My wife, we're visiting her family.
Oh, nice. All right. And there's nothing like a dame, I always say. And we have one here. Dame Harriet Walter with her first Emmy nomination. And she's incredible in this, playing Lady Caroline Collingwood. She is a renowned stage, screen, television, you name it, actress, Royal Shakespearean Company, and so much in her long career. So please welcome Dame Harriet Walter. Hi.
Hi there. Greetings from Southwest England.
Greetings to you as well. And then we have, he is an Academy Award nominated actor, an Emmy winning actor. This, I believe, James, is your fifth Emmy nomination. You're nominated for Guest Actor in a Drama Series playing Ewan Roy, and he is the brother of Logan Roy. And this is, you know, he's getting used to these Emmy nominations here, and well deserved. Please welcome James Cromwell.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
And you're coming in just outside of New York?
Correct.
Yeah. Well, welcome all of you, and I want to give you a taste, and I mean just a little taste, because these are a little short clips of each of you that we've put together here. So we're going to look at it all together of your work this season in Succession. Let's take a look.
It's well within my rights to remove your name from amongst the beneficiaries of my last will and testament.
Okay. Because that's quite a pretty penny.
Around 250 mil. And I'm sure Greenpeace would be very much obliged.
That's not quite how I do things.
Well, it will have to be, or there's no deal. We want to announce the sale and Shiv at the same time because, frankly, she may be one of you, but she's young, she's a woman, and her politics fit better with the core values of our family business.
Do you think maybe we can talk?
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead, but, yeah. But are they quite difficult things? Because, you know, a bit tired for home truths.
When I performances there, and hope enough to get people, if they haven't seen this, and I can't believe there's anybody out there that hasn't been riveted and hooked on Succession yet. But Sherry, let me ask you, coming in as what this category is guest acting, coming into a series where you are dealing with the established series regulars and things, and then sort of walking into it, is that any different than any other kind of acting job, or is it a very kind of unique thing you have to adjust to?
Well, I mean, it's daunting with this group because I, saw that first season and was dazzled. But I got to march into battle with all of the Pierces. There were 8 of us, and there were 8 of the Roys. So we sort of came in onto this battlefield together, and we had the best time because there were 8 of them and there were 8 of us. So 16 at table, and we all, so many of us knew each other before. I went to college with Holly Hunter. I'd worked with J. Smith Cameron before, and known many of my cousins, the Pierces, Marklyn Baker and Jeremy Seamus, and it was because we came in as a team. It was a little easier than just coming in solo. For Harriet, I'm so fascinated to know what it was like to suddenly go, I'm these children's mother, and I was married to that man. It must have been unbelievable.
Exactly.
And forgive me for doing your job, Pete.
I love it.
I just want to know very quickly, how far into the season were you called from the very beginning of season 1 to be
was sent the pilot, which was already completed, episode 1, and they hadn't shot anything yet of the rest of it. That's when I was brought in, and so I was stepping into the unknown in terms of they hadn't written my scripts yet because they were further on. They were in episode 9 and 10. So I didn't know what I was going to be doing. I had a vague idea from Jesse that I was how long they gave the marriage, and that was kind of it. And apart from that, I watched I got to know them. It was a big advantage to see that episode 1 because I got a hunch about the style. And I've worked with Brian and I've worked with Matthew. I knew the Brits. So and also but I walked in like you've seen this amazing cast, but I hadn't seen the show from 2 till 8. I'd only seen the pilot and they'd already shot up to my entrance in episode 9. So they'd really bonded and fused. And then I stepped in to, how do you do This Is Your Mother? and that was as scary as it can sound. But I had the advantage of season 1. We shot the big wedding scene over 2 episodes, and we were staying all together on location for 3 weeks. So you really got to know everyone. The whole cast was there because it was the wedding. So you got to know everybody. And that means that when I only had a few two-handers come season 2, I did know my children a little bit by then.
James, let me ask you how you came into this cast, and that statistic that I posed at the beginning where I talk about 9 of the actors in this cast have been nominated for Emmys, and of course across the board in different awards. Is there something about this particular show that strikes an actor as really, really great material and something they want to be part of?
The writing. Yeah, the writing is exceptional. I had just done a play about Rupert Murdoch in Australia, which he was not very pleased with. And then, of course, the comparison between the two I thought was very accurate. I knew Brian I can say socially. I hadn't worked with Brian. And the character fascinated me because it's the only character that is totally at odds with the family, with the personalities, with their political positions, with their morality or lack thereof. And which I really enjoy. I like being the outsider, and I really was the outsider. I disliked everybody practically.
I love that. Your character, also, you in real life are a real activist, and to be congratulated for that and caring about this world too. And you have a moral center, which I can't say that about any of these characters on this show, as you sort of there. No. You're walking into that.
Yeah. And the reason for the moral center was quite interesting because, of course, he grew up with the same sort of privileges and a disconnect that people of great wealth and power have, if it follows the Murdoch example. Only I went to Vietnam and fought in Vietnam. So what I saw in Vietnam transformed him. And he probably still has a residual PTSD. He certainly understands its ramifications. He certainly understands the support for the Vietnam War coming from the organization that the family represents and works for, and that it's a lie and always has been. So I felt very strongly, and I impressed this on Jeremy and Jesse in no uncertain terms, that I did not want to compromise. I didn't want him to be the guy. So I'd never take 5,000. $1 million? Oh, well, I'd never liked those kind of transitions. And so I said, he's going to stick to his guns. And they let me.
That's so great. That's great to have that kind of creative input too, from an acting point of view as well. And Sherry, did you do any kind of deep dive into that world, that big media world? You're as powerful as Logan Roy is on your own end on the Pierce end there, and it's sort of a fascinating kind of area to play in, I think.
Well, it was so funny because I had this wonderful back and forth with Frank Rich, who those of us who come from the theater know the power that he wielded at the New York Times, and now he's just this, Holly Hunter and J. Smith Cameron and I passed by his director's chair, his executive producer chair, and it said in black and white, Frank Rich, and we all sort of went, ooh, but no more do any of us feel that way. But in a back and forth with Frank via email, I said, I get the sense that Nan Pierce is sort of a wannabe Katharine Graham from the Washington Post, but she's not. And Frank said, no, she's not. She's a bus and truck Katharine Graham, which I thought was fantastic. But at the same time, she wants to keep the organization going. She wants to have editorial control within the Roy conglomerate. Good luck there. But so she's having to make a pact with the devil. Will only go so far. So I didn't do a lot of research because I'm sort of a news hound anyway. And once I sort of knew where she fit in the world of Katharine Graham as the bus and truck Katharine Graham, that sort of set me on my way.
Wow. And Dame Harriet, you're coming into this as the mother of these three monsters. And, people are going to say, well, what did she do to them to turn them into this? And you have to sort of invent her world before.
Yes, to a certain extent. I had a lot of leeway with my backstory, really. I mean, I discussed a few items with Jesse, but really he gave me one example of a person he was kind of vaguely thinking of, and I could absolutely, I knew who that person was. And I kind of drew on her and an amalgam of other such types. But I do have a slightly sort of Lady Macbeth defensiveness about, I didn't create those creatures alone. How about Logan? I mean, it's like, oh, now we know why they're like that. And I go, but you've seen him with the father, It takes two to create those monsters. So I don't take all the blame, but it's very insightful. You kind of have to adjust your backstory a little bit. You can't walk in with your solid backstory and then confront these people who you haven't met before and realize that they're interacting slightly differently, so you have to adjust. But I've got my secret through line. I don't know whether to share it with people or not, because in case it's not what Jesse was thinking. But I certainly think, what would it be like to be married to Logan Roy?
Interesting. And you mentioned Lady Macbeth, and linchpin of the Royal Shakespeare Company, and everybody knows your brilliant stage work there and with Shakespeare. And this show strikes me as very Shakespearean in some ways, in a contemporary manner. Would you agree with that?
100%. I think that's why we're hooked on it, not just because of we love the monstrosity of them, but because they are extreme versions of family life. Like King Lear is epic, but it's also a story of love and jealousy and wanting attention and wanting to matter to your dad, and all these elements that wherever you come from, you can relate to, because otherwise, why can we relate to these people? They're so unlike anybody we normally come across. And I think that's the big tug is, we identify with Kendall's longing to be loved, within this great, terrifying saga.
Well, amazing. Yes, Sherry, go ahead.
I just wanted to chime in because at the Turnhaven dinner table, Jeremy was with Kendall, was seated next to me. Holly Hunter was in between. And, of course, he's trying to charm Nan Pierce, my character. And he had such a backstory. You know how intense Jeremy is. And he did this thing. He said, is that really a Henry Moore in the garden? And I said, it is. And he said, and when I came into the foyer, was that really a sergeant on the wall? And I said, it is. And he kept naming different pieces of artwork in the house. And I said, I have to admit that I'm amazed that you are an art lover. And he said, well, our mother is British, and she's been on the board at the Tate for years.
Okay, well, thanks for that information.
A brilliant example of creating your backstories. That's so
big
great.
part of that conversation. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, it's such an honor to have three giants of acting here, such great veterans of so many great things that we've seen through the years. And now to see you all somehow all coming together on Succession in one way or another. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us today on Deadline's Virtual House. And now 4 more Emmy nominees from Succession here.